Sidney Crosby scored his 400th goal yesterday in St. Louis. Matt Murray stole the show. Really was outstanding in burying the Blues on their home ice. But one player, in my eyes, stood out above all the others on this trip, and he had no points in Dallas or here in St. Louis. I'm Dejan Kovacevic, and this is DK's Daily Shot, sponsored by Schneider Downs.
What I want from my public accounting firm is big ideas.
But I don't want to lose the personal attention.
My company needs global capabilities.
From a firm with local ownership.
And I want to work with industry experts.
Who take the time to understand my unique challenges. And that's what sets Schneider Downs apart. Expertise for the most complex business issues. With the service you need every day. To learn how our big thinking with a personal focus can help your company, visit schneiderdowns.com.
Yeah, the Penguins just had a pretty nice trip. They went to Dallas, got a point out of that one. Here in St. Louis, won 4-1. Two of the league's hottest teams winning on the road, no less, something the Penguins haven't been very good at this season. They had a lot of guys step up. Some guys were good, others were very good. One of them has been consistently great since the beginning, and he was again the best player on this trip. And hint, he had no points. Zeros across the board in either game. That's Phil Kessel. All Phil is doing, again and again, shift after shift, is creating offense. He's also back-checking, which still looks crazy to me after years of watching him, not do that. But he is getting the puck, gaining the blue line with authority, meaning the attacking blue line, looking around, seeing his options. If his best option is to shoot, that's the one he's taking. He did have 3 shots in each of these 2 games. He's just creating so much. He's freezing opponents. This is the sort of thing that elite passers do. You don't associate that maybe from the past, maybe from his time with Toronto, or before that even Boston. He's always seen as a shooter, which is, normal because he can shoot really, really well. But his game, his playmaking ability right now is just off the charts. And I've wondered at times over the past, the last 3 or 4 weeks really, if I'd been going maybe a little bit too far with the Phil thing. And then, the other night in Dallas, Ken Hitchcock, who really isn't prone to talking too much about the opponent, most hockey coaches aren't, brought this up on his own. The question was from some Dallas reporter, and it had absolutely nothing to do with Phil Kessel. And this was Hitch's response.
I think the thing that surprises you in the game is how good a player Kessel is. I think, you think he's just a scorer, but he's got way more game than that. So he makes it doubly difficult because you can't focus just on Malkin, because if Kessel ends up with the puck, there's usually a good play. So I think all of us were surprised by how much of an overall game Phil has. It's really, really strong.
Again, that's Ken Hitchcock. Now think about that for a second. This is an NHL coach who's been a head coach in the league for 3 decades. He's seen Phil tape up, down, and sideways. He's seen Phil in person up, down, and sideways. NHL, international competition, whatever. And he's acting like he's never seen Phil Kessel before in his life. You know why? Because this Phil has never existed before. His off-season conditioning regimen, partly to the credit of former Penguin Gary Roberts. And if you think about the time span, he had, a month and a half from June 11 in Nashville to the time the Penguins had to report to training camp? His off-season regimen has to be the greatest regimen in human history, because you're watching Phil now, and you're seeing a guy who's just relentless on every shift. Like, he just transformed from being, Phil Kessel, the old Phil Kessel, to this hybrid Patrick Hornqvist creature who can fly around the rink and make plays, and he has all this energy. I don't know what got into Phil after Nashville. It's not like he disappointed in that playoff. He certainly didn't disappoint in the previous playoff when he was the anchor to the HBK line. But whatever it is, it's the single greatest improvement individually that the Penguins had from last season to this season, and man, it's been a blessing. I'm Dejan Kovacevic reporting from St. Louis. This has been DK's Daily Shot, sponsored by Schneider Downs. You're listening to DK Sports Radio.